Someone just humiliated you in front of people whose opinion matters to you. Your face is hot, your hands are shaking slightly, and a voice in your head is already scripting the perfect comeback you're about to deliver in 3, 2, stop. That voice is not your friend. It's exactly what the other person is hoping for, because the second you take the bait, you've already lost something they didn't even have to fight for. A man who spent years managing the moods of one of the most dangerous, unpredictable rulers in Roman history figured out how to never lose that fight again. His name was Seneca, and in the next few minutes you're getting his exact playbook, plus 2 more from Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. So the next time someone comes at you, you're the only one still standing calm when it's over. Why you lose control so fast? Here's the truth nobody tells you about that heat you feel. It's not weakness, it's biology. Your body reacts to a threat before your brain even finishes processing what was said. That's not a flaw. That's ancient wiring. The problem isn't the spike. The problem is what you do in the 3 seconds after it. Seneca called anger a brief madness, not a strong feeling. A temporary loss of your actual mind. And he wasn't guessing. He served inside the court of Emperor Nero, a man who could end your career or your life on a bad afternoon. Seneca had every real-world reason to master this. He wrote an entire book on it called On Anger, and it's still the sharpest field manual on staying calm ever written. His central claim, anger, is easiest to kill in its first spark. Once it's a fire, it's already too late. So everything that matters happens in that first 3 seconds. Shift 1. By the delay, Seneca's most repeated line in the whole book. The greatest remedy for anger is delay. Not to forgive the person, not to let it go. Just to give the emotion time to run out of fuel on its own, the way a wave loses power the further it travels from shore. Here's proof he actually lived this. Seneca would write furious letters when someone provoked him, then leave them in a drawer for days before deciding whether to send them. Most were never sent. The version of him from minute 1 wasn't allowed to speak for the version of him from day 2. You don't need days, you need 1 breath. The next time someone confronts you, before you say a single word, take 1 slow breath. Say, let me think about that out loud if you have to. That's it. That's the whole move. It buys enough time for the spark to either die down or turn into something you'd actually want to say. The insult never touched. You Epictetus, one of the most quoted Stoics in history, said something that sounds almost too simple until it actually saves you mid-argument. It is not he who reviles you who insults you, but your own judgment that it is insulting. 2 separate events happen every time someone attacks you. First, the words themselves. Fict. Already happened. You can't undo it. Second, the meaning your mind slaps on top of it in less than a second. They don't respect me. I have to defend myself right now. Everyone here now thinks I'm weak. Only the second one is yours to control. Next time it happens, ask yourself 1 question in that pause you just bought. What actually happened here in the fewest words possible? Strip away the verdict your brain wants to attach. Someone raised their voice. Someone pointed out a mistake. That's it. Suddenly it's a lot smaller than the story your mind was about to run with. Pick the other handle. Epictetus has a second image that makes this practical with people you actually care about. Every jug has 2 handles. Grab it by the wrong one and it's impossible to carry without spilling. Grab it by the other one, same jug, and suddenly it's easy. Same with people. Your brother says something unfair. You can grab that moment by the handle that says, he wronged me, which is real, but almost impossible to carry without escalating. Or you grab the other handle. This is still my brother. We've built years together. This is 1 bad moment, not the whole relationship. Both handles are true. Only one of them you can actually lift without dropping everything else. it before Atars. Marcus Aurelius ran the largest empire on earth, and every single morning before he even got out of bed, he reminded himself of one thing: today I will meet people who are difficult, dishonest, and ungrateful. That's simply what dealing with humans involves. That's not pessimism. That's armor. Because most of the damage from confrontation doesn't come from what was said. It comes from the shock of not seeing it coming. If you've already quietly made peace with the fact that today will involve some friction from someone, a coworker, a stranger, a family member, then when it actually shows up, it's not an ambush. It's just Tuesday. 30 seconds before a hard conversation, a meeting, or honestly just your day. Remind yourself, someone today might test my patience, and it probably has nothing to do with me. That single sentence removes the shock value before it even has a chance to land. Let them carry the damage. Here's the question everyone secretly asks: if I don't fight back, don't they win? Seneca's answer is the opposite of what you'd expect. He calls anger a voluntary defect of the mind, meaning the person who loses control isn't the strong one in that exchange. They're the one who just handed away their own clarity for free. And Epictetus takes it further. The person who wrongs you is, in his words, already the one who's hurt, because they're the one operating on a broken, distorted version of reality. You just happen to be standing in front of it. So, who actually loses a confrontation? Almost never. Whoever said the sharper thing in the moment. It's whoever's still replaying it an hour later, agitated, unable to let it go, while the other person already moved on to their next distraction, completely unaffected. Staying calm isn't weakness. It's refusing to hand them a second win. The first was whatever they said. The second would be your entire afternoon. 5 moves. 1 breath before you speak. Separate the words from the meaning you attach to them. Pick the handle you can actually carry. Expect the friction before it shows up. And remember, the person still shaking with anger an hour later already lost, no matter how the argument technically ended. Seneca wrote a whole book on this because he needed it, working next to a man who could end his life on a whim. Epictetus needed it after years as a slave. Marcus Aurelius needed it running an empire full of exactly the people he warned himself about every morning. You don't need all 5 of these working perfectly the next time someone comes at you. You need the first one. 1 breath. Long enough to remember you actually have a choice. Never fear confrontation. Just don't let it borrow your mind for free. Shh.